All right, so this is part 2 of the little episode about vegan and carnivore and my heart condition and all of that jazz. So, and I'll link the part 1 description, the part 1 video in the description if you hadn't seen that. So it gives kind of context. So I went for the heart doctor wanted to do a heart cath because I failed the stress test. So I went in for the heart cath and we got all that done. It's been, I don't know, 2 months ago now. I just hadn't had time to do a video. So we done the heart cath and the heart cath showed 40% blockage in my lower arterial descending artery. So it's not enough for them to do anything. So they said that the failing the stress test was a false positive, that there was nothing, the 40% blockage isn't creating any issues. So, but you know, none of that addresses the PVCs that I'm having. So that's just a whole separate problem. But like I said, the PVCs, I've had them for 20 years, but just recently they've got really severe. So they put me on metoprolol, I believe it is, and it has really, that and certain foods are triggers. It's really weird, the stuff that is a trigger that makes the PVCs worse. So I really been watching that, and I take the smallest dose available 1 time a day of the metoprolol, and it has really, hemmed up the PVCs. I mean, they're not 110% gone, but they're 90% better. So at this time, because there was some talk about doing like a laser ablation on my heart, so at this time, we're not going to do any of that. The doctor didn't think it was appropriate at this time. But, I guess the gist of all of this, and, I alluded to it in the first video, it's just insane because I asked the doctor, I'm like, okay, I've got a 40% blockage. How do we fix it? And, their answer is you don't fix it. You just do stuff to make it not get any worse. And of course they want to put me on, insane amounts of cholesterol medicine and bring my cholesterol down to just nothing. And my cholesterol is just on the high side of normal. So I don't have, in real life, I don't have, quote unquote, high cholesterol. And I've really never had high cholesterol as long as I look back at my chart, and it goes back, years, 10 years, 15 years. And I've never really had, high cholesterol. And most of the studies I see really, I guess the stuff that I see, unless you have excessively high cholesterol, it's just not really a big deal. If you're in the normal range or just outside of the normal range, lowering your cholesterol just, again, this is just the studies I've seen, just don't really help. I mean, it just doesn't help anything. So, and the doctor's answer as far as diet, which I was really disappointed. I mean, it was basically just, yep, you got a blockage, take this dope and take this other dope, and we'll see you in 2 years. And, once it gets to a 70% blockage, we'll just put a stent in. And that's basically the attitude. It's like, there's no real concern. It's just like, when your tire blows out, we'll stick a plug in it, no big deal. And I'm over here like, how do we stop from blowing the tire out? And so I asked him, I had to ask. I mean, they offered no diet information. I'm like, well, what should I be eating? And they told me what I should be eating. And I'm like, well, that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So we can go ahead and debunk that. That ain't working. And then the answer was, oh, well, it's just genetic then. And I'm like, well, if it's genetic, why does nobody else in my family have blockages? Like I said in the first video, I mean, half of my family, I mean, they eat Crisco 8 times a day, with a spoon, and they don't have any problems. So obviously, either I'm an anomaly or we're missing, something. There's a piece of the puzzle we're missing. So the doctor didn't really seem to care either way. It just, basically to them, it just is what it is, and take some dope, and, we'll just monitor you. And so I done a little research, more, we always try to do research on our own and come up with, ways to fix ourselves. And, ApoB is a big deal, and that's basically cholesterol particle size, because the general consensus that I can see is big cholesterol is not a problem. It can't go across the vein or artery wall. It can't get into the inner wall to create the inflammation and the problems. So I emailed the cardiologist back, and I'm like, hey, can we do can you order a ApoB test, and let's just look at that and see what it tells us? And he emailed me straight back and said that they don't use ApoB, and basically it's just useless. And that was all he said. No, they don't care. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to argue about it. This is what they do. This is the boxes they check. And if you're not interested in that, then, whatever. And that's a real letdown, that the people that you're going to and you're paying thousands of dollars to, quote unquote, help you, could care less. For the most part, they could just care less about anything. I mean, they've got a protocol. This is what they do. And if you are not willing to just accept that protocol and that's it, then, they don't care. And all of them that I talk to pretty much are the same exact way. They all just, this is what they do. And if you don't like that, you can just go somewhere else. So I thought that was lame. I mean, I just thought it was lame. So I think when originally, and I had relatively new to the carnivore diet, but I've been pretty well sticking with it. And I don't know, I've lost 10 or 15 more pounds. I don't remember exactly. But I mean, I feel great. I mean, other than the little PVC deal, I feel great. So I'm going to just keep going like we're going, and I'm going to find somebody somewhere to do a ApoB test. I don't know if I can, order it myself, or if I got to get a doctor to order it, but I'm going to figure that out, and I'm going to do it, and just to see what that looks like. But I think the biggest deal with the particle size is, again, from what I can read, is just trash processed food creates the small particles, and whole foods create larger particles, and that sort of eliminates the problem. And before, because I mean, Cheerios is heart healthy, and oats are heart healthy, and we had so many problems with blood sugar issues. So I have come to assume, or that's what the doctor called it, that I'm hypersensitive to carbohydrates. So I done for 2 months, I done a continuous glucose monitor, and I could eat, oats, raw rolled oats, unsweetened almond milk, and a few pecans. Yeah, and I say pecans. A few pecans, and just a little bit of organic honey, just for taste. And my blood sugar would go from the 80s to 130 or 140, and then about 20 minutes later, it would crash. It would be in the 50s. It would go as low as in the 50s. I've had this problem my whole life. So any carbs, you know, eat whole wheat bread, it doesn't matter. Even bananas. I mean, sometimes I could eat a banana and it would spike and crash. So I don't eat sugar, and I try not to eat anything processed anymore. And even the stuff that's not processed is supposed to be healthy. I struggle with it, with the whole sugar deal, because it was crazy. You know, and I went to the doctor and we went over all the deal, and they done tons of blood tests, tons and tons of blood tests, and can't find a problem with my system that regulates. But what's happening is you know, best I can understand, my pancreas overreacts to the carbohydrates and then dumps too much insulin, and then my sugar crashes. So it's a real problem. I have to be really careful, because a couple of times, you know, I passed out, and I've got a pretty good tolerance because it's so low so often. But now, you know, since I went carnivore, it's crazy, because the graph, you know, you could see on the continuous glucose monitor. I mean, the graph will be just straight and then straight up and back down and back up and back down, and you know, and it bounce a little bit and do all kind of crazy stuff. And now on carnivore, I mean, literally, it's just, I mean, it's a straight line. It's absolutely a straight line 24/7. I don't know that that's good or bad, but it is a straight line. And since I've been on carnivore, I have not had a low blood sugar episode once, not one time. So, you know, that's a wonderful thing, because if you out somewhere and your blood sugar is drops below 70, it's scary business, because you know, you get disoriented and you can't think. And I've had it before. I'm standing there with my cell phone and I can't remember how to use it to call my wife to come help me. So that's serious, you know. And the doctors, again, you know, it's crazy to me, but the doctors, they just blow this stuff off like it ain't no big deal, you know. No, that's no big deal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm over there, you know, like a freaking moron. I can't even think how to use my phone, and I'm about to pass out on the floor, and I'm clammy and got cold sweats. I mean, yeah, that is a issue, you know. I mean, that's serious. But you know, but again, you know, I don't know. It's just the doctors ain't like they used to be. But anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, carnivore has been all positives as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what it's going to do. You know, I've been on carnivore, and I've had two cholesterol, my lipid profile checked, and it's pretty consistent, and it's not going up, and it's just outside of the normal range. So I'm not real concerned about that at this point. We're going to see how it progresses, and then, you know, we may make some corrections from there. But anyway, just, you know, I'm just sharing my journey on this deal. Hopefully it can help somebody, and you know, it is what it is. All right, thank y'all so much for watching. Like I say, I'll link the first video in the description. We appreciate you. See you on the next one.